kind of early, 9:30 on a Friday morning, but we're really glad that you're with us to talk about the super exciting topic of money, right? It's important for us here at Girl Scouts, though. Okay, Miss Deanna.
All right.
Okay, so volunteer learning series. This is our third month that we've been meeting on Friday morning to bring you guys some timely, informative information about what's going on in Girl Scout world. And this month we're going to talk about finances because right around the corner, of course, is the troop finance season. In our own personal lives, we're probably either enjoying our tax return or realizing, oh no, April's right around the corner and I need to get my taxes done. So, we're not going to have you make sure you do your TFR by April 15th, like taxes. But if you haven't done your taxes, here's your friendly reminder. Okay, so our agenda this morning, we're going to do just a bit of housekeeping and intros, which we're doing right now. Then we're going to get into troop finance reports, and Deanna's going to lead us through what's changed. We understand some of the participants today, maybe this is your first year doing your TFR, and for others of you are here just for a recap and a refresher. Either way, thanks for coming. We have a quick icebreaker mid-meeting if you need to get up and refresh your coffee. Actually, that should say break, not icebreaker, but that's okay. And then we're going to have the second half of the meeting is going to be a little bit about finances in general. We'll touch on setting up for a successful year, tracking your funds, the wonderful topic of money earning. And then we will have a portion at the end for Q&A. And we in Girl Scout world, we call that the parking lot. If anybody is new to Girl Scouts and you're not familiar with that, what it means is we invite you to have a sticky note or a notepad next to you close. And as we're going through, if you have any questions that come to mind, any scenarios that you need to discuss, we ask that you write them down on your sticky note and then park them. And then at the end of the meeting, we'll say, okay, time to open up the garage and we'll have all of our conversation about the questions that you'd had. So we just want to make sure that we don't miss any. So we don't want you to necessarily put them in chat as we're going along because they might get buried. So let's just hold all those questions till the end for the parking lot. Okay, Miss Deanna, the ball is in your court, my dear. Let's dive in.
All right. So Troop Finance Report, otherwise known as the TFR. As Chris said, it happens every year. They are due May 31st, and that's been a pretty consistent time frame. Why do we have to do a TFR? Because GS NorCal is a 501(c) nonprofit organization, and this is a requirement by the IRS to maintain our nonprofit status. But more important than that is that it ensures transparency and accountability with the troops so that parents are not surprised about where the funds are going. Another thing to consider is that, yes, 10 to 15% of troops do get audited. It's not that they're picking on you or anything like that. But moving on, what is new? Well, what is really great is now troop treasurers have access to the finance tab in the volunteer toolkit. Last year, it was just the troop leaders. Troop leaders still continue to have access to the finance tab. This is where you're going to fill out your TFR. A couple of other new additions are there are council notes for all troops. So this is a good information area. It's also where you're going to add a note in each of the categories, income, expenses, and your financial summary. This is where you're going to put in if you have checks or deposits that are outstanding. You're going to put in and the financial summary. This is where you're going to enter if you have a reason for why your TFR is not balancing. These are required areas, and if there are no comments, you're going to put in N\A. The finance tracker is now on Google Sheets as well as Excel, which is really, really nice. So with all this new information, you're going to want to make sure that treasurers are on your rosters, registered and background screened, and they need to have that current. So going over some tips and tricks on the TFR, there are council details which explains what each of these areas are, which is really nice. And in the miscellaneous expenses, you need to explain in the notes to the council. Next, each troop finance report needs to have 2 signers on there. Each bank account needs to have 2 signers. So down here, you're going to add in your second signer. It only pops up the first one, so you're going to have to add that. Make sure you remember to add in that second signer. Also, if you have a second account, bank account, some troops do, they have a checking account and a savings account. You can add that in right there, which is really nice. You don't have to fill out a whole other form. You can just add it in there. All right, so you can stop and edit your TFR at any time, as long as you don't click submit. This is nice because you can put in your information, then you can have your troop leader or whoever else is designated in your troop to take a look at it before you submit it. That way you can make some changes. If you do hit submit before uploading your bank statement or figure out you need to make some edits, that's okay. You just email info@gsnorcal.org and have the report unlocked. Don't forget to upload your bank statement to your desktop before you hit submit. It makes it so much easier than having to have it unlocked and add that bank statement. Another neat thing on it is the time stamp of the last update. So if you make some edits or your troop leader makes some edits, or you can see when the last date was for the autosave. Sorry, I lost my mouse. I kind of jumped ahead, but don't forget to attach your April bank statement. And then once everyone has reviewed it, you can click add attachments and submit. I get talking faster than. So how do you get to your troop finance report? Well, you go into your MyGS, then you go to your, once you sign in, you go down to the volunteer toolkit, and then you go to the finance tab. I can do a short demo if we have time, or we can do it at the end if folks want to see it, how it actually works on a real live. We have lots of resource links, and this slide deck will be shared out to you, and you can access these resources. One of the best resources is the training and the volunteer learning portal. I took the training and I found it very, very useful and very helpful because it walked through all the steps and I got to actually see how it worked for filling out the troop finance report. But we also have the FAQs for the finance tab. We have the finance report tracking sheet, like I said. We have finance tab instructions for the VTK. And on our web page, everything is nice and neatly packaged up where you can access it. No more hunting for everything. Oops. Did you want me to move on now?
Sorry, Deanna, were you talking to me? Are we ready to go
Yeah.
through to break? Wow, that was really quick. I think in the sake of time, we're actually ahead of schedule. So why don't you go ahead and pop over to a live demo?
All right.
I'm just going to drop some links into the chat. Although I'm noticing as I'm dropping them, I'm not getting the title. So let me try to look at this. Okay, so it looks like my copy and paste didn't work. So I dropped 2 links to the same thing, which is the finance tracker. And then I'm going to go ahead and get another link here for you guys. Give me just a quick minute. I'm going to link to the actual VTK webpage because we have a new webpage on our website that talks all about the VTK. What I'm noticing is copying and pasting the links are not working. Okay, give me 1 minute. I could do this effectively. There we go. Okay, so I just dropped a link for the finance tab resources, which are on our VTK webpage. So the VTK webpage, don't get that confused with the actual volunteer toolkit. The webpage is like a page that lives live on our website that gives you clicks and links and tips. So that's what I just dropped a link to. We definitely will be sending out links in an additional email. I just know sometimes people like to pick them up out of the chat. So if you're that kind of person, if you want to pick them up out of chat or you want to wait, well, 3 different ways. You can pick them up out of chat, you can wait for your email, you can go to the resources tab, lots of different options. Okay, Miss Deanna, are you ready?
Yes. Okay.
Awesome.
How do you get to your volunteer toolkit? Well, first you're going to go to our webpage, then you're going to go to your MyGS. And then here we go. Once you sign into your MyGS, it's going to pull up your account. You're going to go down to your volunteer toolkit. And to your finance tab. That's going to pull up your troop finance report. And here are resources. It'll list all the resources available, and you can click and go to those right away if all of a sudden you have questions that arise. You can print your TFR. And here are the council details for each category. And that will tell you a little bit about what that means, what it is. And here is the last, here's the date timestamp. So as you're filling it out, again, you will see add a note if you need to add a note. It'll take you to your expenses. And again, the same thing. You can add a note. And then it'll automatically calculate your numbers. You don't have to do the math. And just a note, your parents can see the troop income, expenses, and the financial summary, but they cannot edit it and they can't see your notes. And here is where you're going to add a second signer. You need to have 2 signers listed. And here is where you're going to add a second bank account if you have one. Then it'll go through the regular questions that were on all previous TFRs for as long as I can remember. What is your status? What are you going to do for next year? and this is required. Your troop, your service unit name, and the number. Here's where you're going to put in outstanding deposits, outstanding purchases that haven't been listed yet. And because cookie season is lasting longer this year, that may be the case that you may have still have some outstanding expenses and deposits. And don't forget, if you have a balance of over $500, please indicate how the girls in your troop are planning to use that money. If this doesn't apply, always enter NA. And then you can preview and attach your documents. And then you'll submit it. So that is basically what the TFR looks like and where to find it. Again, you're going to go to My GS, then you're going to log in, you're going to go to the Volunteer Toolkit, and then the Finance tab. So over to you.
Awesome, Deanna. Thank you for getting us that high-level overview of TFRs. I did drop some links in the chat, but again, you'll get them through the email and you can also get them on our website. So it is time for us to take a quick little break, which is kind of funny because we've only been on this call for 20 minutes. But if you need to refresh your coffee, you need to take a bio break, now is your time. We're going to just have a little stretching for anybody who stays with us. So we're going to do a little chair yoga. So if you guys all can push your chair back a little bit so that you can sit right on the edge of your chair. Get your tush right on the edge. So that way your feet can be at a 90-degree angle. Your toes and your heels should be flat on the ground. You're going to sit up real tall with your back and push your shoulders, not with your hands, but just kind of push your shoulders back to open up your chest. It's kind of like stretching your two shoulder blades together, but you're just going to kind of open up real good. Okay, and so now what we're going to go ahead and do is just some easy stuff that we're probably all familiar with, which is just head rolls. So we're just going to put our head down, kind of roll from side to side, just sort of opening ourselves up, rolling a little back and forth. Be easy on yourself with the back of your neck if you decide to go all the way around. Don't drop heavy, like, don't let your head kind of flop when you go around the back. You want to sort of be controlled with that. Okay, now we're going to take our right hand and we're going to stretch it across our body and put it on our left knee. And that just twists your back just slightly. And of course, everyone has different abilities. We don't want you to push yourself or do anything that'll hurt you. But you're just going to kind of put some gentle pressure with that hand on your knee. And you actually will feel that in your upper back. Again, just sort of trying to stretch out those muscles, get us ready for our day. 3, 2, 1. Okay, and we're going to switch to the other side. So you guessed it, left hand over to the right knee. Gentle pressure. You can turn your head if you want a deeper stretch. My natural position, my other elbow is kind of coming up. I don't know why I'm doing that, but I am. I don't know if you guys are too. Okay, coming on back. Okay, well, big old deep breath. And I think we're probably ready to jump back into the exciting world of money. So, Deanna, if you don't mind, go ahead and share that screen. Oh, yes, there's our cat stretch. We didn't do the cat stretch. I'm sorry. The cat stretch is arching your back. Oh, it does feel good. Okay. So we're going to jump right into some of the other Girl Scouty stuff regarding money other than the reporting. We're going to talk about setting up for a successful year. This is usually something we chat a little bit about like August-ish because people are just jumping into Girl Scouts. But we know we have troops that are just starting up, and we also have troops that are just getting back going, right? They're just kind of reconvening, and cookies sort of woke everybody up. So we want to just touch on this a little bit about how to really get yourself set up for that successful year. So the first biggest bullet point is just keep track throughout the year, and that's probably the hardest one. But we do have a really great tool that will help your treasurer or your troop leader, whoever's responsible for that. We would prefer that be the treasurer because it takes one more load off of our leaders. But we know realistically, sometimes our leaders are the treasurers. So use the Google or the Excel finance tracker sheet. Just open it up, use it, love it. It's amazing. It has different tabs across the bottom. It auto calculates for you. It even gives the very last page is like an example of exactly what a TFR would look like. And so it tells you exactly how to enter that information into the TFR come TFR time. So again, the tracking sheet is a tool. If you were part of Girl Scouts last year, it's probably floating around in your email somewhere because we shared it out last year about this time. It'll go out again, and it's on the resources tab. So the second tip is keep your receipts. As Deanna mentioned earlier, we do have some accountability that our finance team needs to do, and that is to audit random troops. And if your troop is one of those random audits, you might need your receipts. And so it's really good practice to keep those receipts. And you want to say, where do I keep them? So one tip that I give to a lot of troop leaders is to pick up yourself one of those little file folders that are for like coupons. They're just, they're yay big, about the size of an oversized wallet, and they have all the little spacing in there for coupons. You can title each one of those sections the titles that go on the finance report. So for example, you'll maybe want one of those little sections to say they're your craft supplies, and maybe another section is receipts of what you spent on badges. Then another one is for food, and so on. That way you're really organized. Some people use a little bit bigger, or like a banker box type of thing, and they do full regular size folders for all their receipts. Of course, those are our super spender troops that are out there really moving and shaking. So whatever works for you, right? However you do your home finances is probably how you're going to do your Girl Scout finances. And so keeping receipts, though, is really important in Girl Scout world. And that is a difference, because I think in this fast-paced world, a lot of us even skip the receipts, or we just have them emailed to us. But that's a big difference for Girl Scouts. We need you to keep them. Okay, another tip for you is that you should not be incurring monthly fees or cash deposit fees in your Wells Fargo bank account. This is one of the reasons that we really prefer that those that can and are in Wells Fargo areas do choose to bank with Wells Fargo, because we have a relationship with Wells Fargo, and we're able to help you out when things like extraneous bank fees pop up. So be checking that bank statement as it comes in. Make sure you're not seeing any strange bank fees. And in cookie time, you really should not be seeing the extra cash deposit fee either. Of course, this year, nobody should, because we had a cashless sale, but that's just a little tidbit for the future. Okay, so our next little bit we're going to talk about is using the online payment services. So we debuted a partnership with Cheddar Up a few years ago. Just by a quick show of hands, is anybody using Cheddar Up in their troop? Anybody? I see a few hands. Okay, good. So Cheddar Up is a great system. It was, if I remember correctly, I think it was actually designed by Girl Scouts that are now adults and moved into their adult career and used some of their Girl Scout knowledge and created this platform. Someone else can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I remember that being part of the fun part about partnering with them. So basically what Cheddar Up is it's an online service where the troop can set up an account, and then you can send out invoices to individual parents. So let's say you guys are going to go to the zoo and you need to collect, I don't know, $2 from every parent to help offset the cost. Instead of collecting $2 at your meeting, or everybody forgets or whatever, you can send out an electronic receipt, and then those parents can just pay through the app, and the app is connected to your troop bank account, and the money goes straight in. So it makes the accounting and all that miscellaneous little bits of cash that you need to collect a lot easier. You also can use Cheddar Up on a larger scale if you're a troop that is doing a money earning event. And we're going to get into money earning in a minute, but Cheddar Up can also be used to set up an event. So for example, you're an ambassador troop and you're going to run a tea party, and you need to collect money from every troop that's going to come to your tea party. You can use Cheddar Up to collect those funds from the other troops as well. So if you need some more information about Cheddar Up, there is an FAQ for that, and your VDM or your M&M can get you set up with that. And you can see on the slide there, we do have Square listed. We are allowing the use of Square and other online payment services. You can use those to collect money from outside of Girl Scouts, so like product sales time, particularly in the fall, is where we see the most people using the Square accounts. So let's go ahead and talk for just a bit about reimbursements and timely deposits. So really important. We want to make sure that if you're the art mom or the field trip mom or the troop shopper and they're out buying things for your group, that your treasurer is reimbursing them in a timely manner. We don't want, somebody out there spending their money on Girl Scouts and then all of a sudden you weren't planning it and they brought you an envelope for, I don't know, $100 in reimbursements. And that could really make or break a trip that's coming up. So we want to make sure that you're staying on top of that. The other thing we want to just sort of put out there and mention is that leaders really should not be funding the troop out of their personal bank accounts and then asking for reimbursement, big old chunk later. Use the troop account. That's why we have it set up. That's why you do the money earning. We know that our leaders have really big hearts for their Girl Scouts, but it's really just best practice that you're using the troop account for your troop expenses. Now, of course, we've got families out there that want to donate. That's fine. You want to take a donation from a family, or you as the leader, you want to say, hey, I'm willing to put $50 of my own money to my troop account, make a deposit, record it as a donation, and then use the troop account to do your expenses. It makes for much cleaner accounting on the back end. The other bit about this is timely deposits. And this is perfect right now because we are just wrapping up cookie sales. Don't leave the money lingering in a safe at home or in I don't know where you might put it, in your drawer in the kitchen or in the glove compartment in your car. Just don't do it. Get that money into the bank. As a staff, we were all discussing this point yesterday, and we all have those horror stories of somebody's car got broken into, somebody's this, somebody's that, and then all of a sudden the cookie money is gone. We really want to avoid that by just getting it into the bank as quick as possible. Okay, this bullet point is again about that big green Girl Scout heart that you all have, that a lot of us wear right there on our sleeve, and that is being afraid to use the product sales ACH discrepancy form. And I just want to share it out there with you guys. It's hard to turn somebody in, right? If you've got a parent out there and they've got lingering cookie money, and whatever their story is in their personal life, it can be sad, and they can come to you with that real hard situation where they can't pay the troop. That's a difficult situation, but we have a process to take that off your shoulders. And that is the ACH discrepancy form. You're not getting them in trouble. You're not sending them to the Girl Scout police. What you're doing is you're allowing counsel to have that difficult conversation for you. You're allowing counsel to set up the payment plan with that parent, and you can wash your hands of it. So please use the ACH discrepancy form if your troop is in that situation. If you need more information about that, the product sales department can help you. Or your VDM or M&M can also answer some basic questions, but the product sales department is who kind of owns that discrepancy bucket of work. Okay, and the last bit on this slide is avoiding those, I bought gas on my Girl Scout card, or I'll tell you my own personal story. I bought a purse with my Girl Scout money one time. Totally a mistake. I used to be a leader, and my personal Wells Fargo card looked just like my troop Wells Fargo card. I was at one of those Mishi purse parties, and when it came time to pay, I didn't pay that close of attention, and I whipped out that Girl Scout card and I paid my purse with my Girl Scout money. Lucky for our troop, we have a troop treasurer who reviews the account every month. She was right on me. We had to figure out a little bit whose card it was that was used. And as soon as she said, Chris, it was your card, my face turned red, and I reimbursed the troop immediately and asked for lots of forgiveness. And we understand sometimes there's mistakes, but there's also tips and tricks that could have been done to avoid that. Right after that happened, I put a big old Girl Scout sticker right on my debit card so that never again would I mix up my personal card from my Wells Fargo card. Now Wells Fargo has a really great feature to customize the look of your card. Put a picture of your girls on there. Put a picture of a Girl Scout trefoil, but make those cards look different so you don't make that same mistake that I did. Another thing that's happening more that we're seeing is accidental use online. There's a lot of us out there that use Google or Google Pay or other online paying services that automatically store our credit card information. It's really easy to be shopping on Amazon and not pay attention to which Visa card is attached to that purchase. And then all of a sudden, a month later, you've got $300 worth of Amazon purchases in your Girl Scout account, and you didn't mean for that to happen. So best practice is don't store that information. If you're using your Girl Scout card online and that pop-up comes and it says, do you want to save this for the next checkout? Please click no. That will help avoid those accidental charges. Also, auto payments is another one. Like, oh my gosh, I've got 7 months of Pandora in my bank account. Again, just don't use your cards for your personal uses. Try to avoid that. And really having a treasurer overlooking your bank account statements every month they come in will help protect the girls' money. Okay, next slide. That was a lot in that slide, guys. So let's chat a bit about money earning. So right now you guys are in cookie season, right? And that is our largest money earning activity that we do throughout the year. Many troops make enough troop funds out of their product sales that they don't need additional money earning. They are able to, make it all work with just the cookie or the nut money. Not everybody can. Some troops have really big goals above and beyond what that product sales brings in. And so you can take family donations. You can also take community and business donations. Those are called sponsorships. And one really important little caveat about that is girls should not be asking businesses for money. If you have, I don't know, the local pizza parlor and you heard, oh, maybe they'll donate to the troop, that really is a conversation that needs to happen between the adults in the mix. And I know a lot of times in Girl Scout world, we're asking, right, the girls to go out, go ask for those chopsticks because we need them, or go ask for extra something. But when it comes to the money, that's a parent or an adult ask. If you do collect a donation, make sure you fill out the donation form. That's important for both your donor and for Girl Scouts because we need to track all that money for IRS and tax reasons. And then the big thing, right, is additional money earning. Those garage sales and bake sales and extra events like I talked about earlier, that Ambassador Tea Party. So there is a way for your troop to earn extra money. And we could probably have a whole nother meeting just about money earning activities. But what we want to get through to you guys today is that it is possible. We don't want you to tell the girls, oh, you can't do that because we don't have enough in our account. Don't squash their dreams like that. The answer should be yes. And what are we going to do to get you there? And so we do have some guidelines around money, of course, right? And you can see them there on the screen. So we have a minimum participation in the product program. And it is 50% of registered girls participating in the fall Take Action and the cookie program within the last calendar year. And there's a minimum requirement, and you can get into those deep dive things if you need. Those are going to be in the FAQ as well as the Money Matters section of our, what is it called? The VE, the Volunteer Essentials. So you also need to be able to show a financial need. Girl Scouts is a nonprofit, which literally means we should not have additional profit in our accounts. So we don't want troops out there just selling just to sell. There always needs to be a need behind it. So when you are looking at the account and you're saying, okay, the zoo is going to cost us this much and we have this much, so our need is only $200 more. We don't want you out there fundraising for 1,000. Your goal is set for each activity, and that's what your money earnings should be geared towards as well. Your money earning activity really needs to be suited to your girls' ages and their abilities. If you are going to plan a car wash, you probably don't want to do that with daisies because they can barely reach the windshield, right? So really make sure that whatever activity you're doing, your girls can have a hand in because it's their money and they need to have that satisfaction of earning it. There's also going to be some little project guidelines regarding your money, especially if you're earning money for your gold, silver, or bronze awards. So just make sure you're in communication with your staff partner, and we can help you with all these sticky, icky money situations. The other little thing about money earning is there is a difference between outward facing money earning projects and inward. And what that boils down to is when we're in our product sales season, fall and cookie, that's the only thing we want the public to be seeing us selling or doing, right? So an example of that is here where I am in Reading in the month of, in December, we do our lighted Christmas parade. And sometimes, well, I guess that's a bad example because it doesn't overlap with nuts. Well, if you have an activity that overlaps like a parade and you think, oh, I could make money out there selling water and I don't know, pretzels to the people at the parade, but it's during product sales, you cannot because you're out in the public selling public facing when we really should be out there selling nuts, candies, and cookies. The difference is an inward money earning event would be like an activity or an event geared towards the Girl Scout community. So if you were going to do a Juliet Lowe sleepover in October, which definitely is right in the middle of nut season, that would most likely be allowed because your audience is the internal Girl Scout sisterhood. You're not out trying to bring in others and collect money and that kind of thing in the outward facing community. I hope I've explained that correctly. Again, any questions at all that have to do with money earning, minimum product sales requirements, that kind of stuff, definitely bring those to your staff member. We can help you out with that. We would love for you guys to share some of your project ideas. So I do want to open up the chat for just a few moments. If you guys have ever done money earning activities in your troop outside of cookies and the fall program, we'd like to see what you've done. So pop into chat if you can, just a moment, some of those extra activities. I know for my daughter's troop, we do a tamale sale. That is something that we have done in the past. We also have been able to take part in the Barnes & Noble gift wrapping. And the girls work for, basically they work for donations. I'm not sure if my thing is frozen, but I'm not seeing anything in the chat. Are you guys typing? Oh, there we go. Now it's coming through. Craftapalooza, tie-dye sales. That's a fun one. Bake sales. Pancake breakfast. Yep, that's a great one. Garage sales are profitable when the girls are young because the families want to get rid of their stuff. That's very true. Very true. Okay, somebody put in here none because they haven't been able to make the participation requirements. And so that's a good point. There are those minimum product sales and people scratch their head and they want to know why. It was explained to me that we have those minimums because when the girls partake in product sales, they are learning so much more than just here's your box and I'll take your $5, right? They're learning how to speak eloquently. They're learning how to count money. They're learning how to count inventory, a lot of entrepreneurial skills that are required for them to be able to go out and be successful at another money earning. So we want them to participate in the program that we have because there's been a lot of thought process put into how the girls learn and what it is they're learning. That way they can go out and continue to use those skills. Okay, we're going to pop over to the next slide and let's talk for just a moment. There we go. We're going to talk about what are we going to do with our money? Yeah, we've got all this cookie money and a lot of you have cookie money from last year too. So big goals, big trips, big ideas. So we wanted to share with you for just a moment. There are some upcoming council trips that look really, really exciting. There's Galapagos, there's London, there's Japan, there's New Zealand. And we have a really great volunteer named Sandy who kind of puts together and organizes these big council trips for us. And she is going to be hosting a Zoom meeting. So if there's anybody who has a girl that is interested in travel, and again, this isn't a troop travel. When you go through one of these programs with the council trip, it's an individual girl going. So I'm going to go ahead and just pop that into the chat really quick in case anybody wants to pick up that Zoom link for the council trips. Okay, let's pop down over to the next slide, Deanna. We've got 2 more slides to go, and then we're going to get to your Q&A. So our next chat is financial aid. So we all know that there's families out there that need it, and we have it. So the thing to kind of talk about with surrounding financial aid is we do have different ways in which families apply for different types of financial aid. And we know that can be a little confusing. So we wanted to just touch on it right now. So the easiest, most basic one is to cover their memberships. You can do that in the registration portal. Girls can request that their membership fee be covered at the time of registration. It's the same for camp. So we have a bucket of money in the Opportunity Fund that is earmarked for camp. There are donors out there that specifically donate money to Girl Scouts so girls can have that residence camp experience. And so when girls want to go to residence camp, and yes, we do have camp going on this year. When girls go to camp, they may need some help with the financial aid aspect of it. And so that is wrapped into their registration for camp. So for girls, registration for membership, automatic part of the process. Registration for camp, it's automatic in part of the process. When they register, it asks if they need it. So the other financial aid that we have and new this year we're really happy about is financial aid for adults. So if you have an adult treasurer, co-leader, you yourself as a leader, any hands-on volunteer that's going to work with the troop, if they have financial need, they can now get financial aid to cover their membership. And that is new this year. So there is a form online that they fill out. It is not through their registration process. So that is different than the girl experience. And so we really want to call that out. So you'll go to the financial aid page on our website. It's in the join column. And then they will fill out a special form that is all about their adult membership. And then their membership fees will be covered by the Opportunity Fund. We also have girl uniform financial aid available, and that is also a form they fill out separate from their registration fee online, and it covers for daisies, their tunic. For older girls, it's going to be a sash, and then their basic insignia, so their troop numbers, their GS NorCal Council ID, and their membership pin. Typically, our financial aid package does not cover the tab, because that's considered a little extra piece, and it does not cover the American flag. Unless something has changed recently, that's how we've seen most of the financial aids for the uniforms come in. So just know that it's available for your girls that need it. We want all girls to feel included. We do not want money to be the hurdle as to why, one little girl doesn't have a uniform. Okay, so our very last slide is just where are you going to go to get all this information? So I said it's on the website, and you can see here on the slide, this is just a snippet of our Girl Scout website. We have the little tabs along the top, one of which is forms. If you've been in Girl Scouts for a while, you're probably familiar with the forms tab because actually most all of our stuff lives there. So you're going to click at the top where that pink arrow is coming down to access the forms tab. And then when you get into the page, you're going to click over towards the right-hand column. It says financial forms. And then all these forms here, we've kind of copied it and made it large so you can see. But all these forms are available through the forms bank that have to do with money. Okie dokie. It is time to open the garage door and see all your shiny cars, or your not so shiny washed and unwashed cars, either way. So it's time for the parking lot. We can do this a few different ways because we understand that not everybody can use the chat feature. If you have a question, drop it into the chat and we will do our best to answer them, as they come in. You can also use the raise hand feature and unmute yourself and you can verbally ask your question. So I'm going to pause for just a minute to see if anybody is going to put in some questions.
Hey, Chris, we did have one question come in a little earlier. Can I go ahead and read that one?
I don't have my chat up because can you?
Yeah, I'll read it. So it says,
Okay.
they want to know for the receipts, can they take photos of the receipts or do they need the original copies?
A photo would be fine. And actually, that's a really great idea because many stores are using the heat transfer papers. And if you leave that in your car, you're going to lose that information. So taking a photo of it is a really good idea. And then if you are audited, you can easily print those out. So yes, taking a photo is a great way to use technology to your benefit. Just make sure you save that then in an easy place to find, because if you're like me and you just snap it on your phone, it's going to get buried in your Google Photos or whatever, or your iCloud photos. So drop them into a particular folder. Okay, Lauren or Deanna, if you could actually read the questions out of chat, that would probably be easier for me to answer them. I see them rolling in here.
Yeah, I can, let me see, hold on, scroll up. How do you upload a bank statement if you don't have a scanner and don't do online banking?
So if you don't do online banking, then that means that you're getting the statements in the mail. And so what you'll do is you can take a photo of it with your phone and it'll become a JPEG. You can have that on your phone. And then if you can access your BTK on your phone, then you'll click the upload. It will find that, your files in your phone where you have all your photos. So that is probably your easiest way, is to just take a photo. If you're going to do that, I am going to suggest that you black out the address and the account information, because wherever you save that picture may or may not be a secure location. It is secure for us when we get it and it lives in our database, but the act of you taking that photo and it living somewhere in your Google Photos could be a little bit dangerous for that personal information. So black that out if you're going to go that route.
There's another question of how do we get a treasurer on the roster?
Okay, so the easiest, quickest, most efficient way is going to be to call member services. We have a great, amazing bank of people that are willing and wanting to answer the phone for you guys. So our 800 number, you're going to give them a ring and you're going to say, I've got a treasurer that needs to go on the roster. They'll ask you, your troop number. If that person is registered and has passed a background check, then it will be automatically done right then and there. If your treasurer is not a member, of course, that's their first step, is to become a member, and then they are going to have to pass the background check. But yes, call member services, that's easy. You can do it through your My Girl Scout portal, but it's a little buried. But you can go into your portal, then go into your account, and then where you see, and I'm saying you as if you are the treasurer. I don't know that a leader can do this on behalf of someone else, but if you are the treasurer, go into your account where you see your name, scroll to the bottom of the little box, like where your information is. And there's a little bit at the bottom that says add or change a role. So that could be a self-service way for somebody to do it on their own, but I would just call the 800 number. Okay, what's next?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was typing in the 800 number in chat. So let's see. Do we need to spend any amount of money per year?
So no, you do not need to spend any amount of money per year. But if your troop has over $500, the IRS is going to want to know why you have an extraneous profit. That's a number that IRS has set on us, and they have decided that 500 is the threshold. So if it's over 500, you need to have a plan. And that plan can be kind of simple, bare bones, but it needs to say, something like, I've got 8 girls and we need $40 each to go to the zoo, and we're going to maybe go in May of 2022 or something like that. So you need to just have a basic plan built out. Now, there are some troops that have a lot of money. For example, the troop that's the high school group my daughter is in, we did a very large international trip a few years ago, and we had upwards of 40 grand in our bank account. And leading up to that, a few years in a row, right? Because it took us like 2 years of fundraising getting up to that point. So if you looked at those TFRs, you were like, oh my God, this troop has $25,000, they're going to want to know why. And so you have to have that. And for something that big, you really should have a travel plan on file with council already. And so again, those are the little caveats that your VDM is going to look at when we review your TFRs, because we have to have eyes on all of them. When we review them and we see that amount over 500, we're looking at that box to see if you put it in there, why you're spending it. And if it's something really big, we're going to talk with the travel department and just make sure that it's all on the up and up. So hopefully I answered that question for you. Okay, let's take one of the hands that are up. How about Tammy Cook? Tammy, I see your hand raised. Can you unmute and ask your question?
Yeah, I'm unmuted. I actually have 2 questions. Is that okay?
Sure.
I think they'll be fast. The first one, the easiest one, will we get these slides sent to us?
Yes. Yep.
'Cause I'll
We will
go
have the slide deck. Yep.
Okay. And then, so our treasurer did the report last year.
Mhm.
And I know it was a spreadsheet. So I'm just trying to, he's going to take the training. I think he's not on now, maybe tomorrow. But I'm just trying to understand the difference between last year. Is the only difference this year is that it's available on the finance tab? Is the spreadsheet the same and all that, or?
So the Excel spreadsheet is just a tool and a document that we've given you to total everything up. The
Right.
actual reporting, it's kind of like, think of it like the IRS, right? You can, when you do your own personal finances, you can record it and figure it out any way you want, but you actually have to file a tax return. So the
Right.
TFR is similar to that. You have to actually go online to the finance tab and enter the information. And then when it's complete, you hit submit. So last year that tab was available, but only to troop leaders. So we,
Okay, got it.
right.
Yeah.
This year, the big difference is now we've had a full year of testing it, and now we're able to open it up so that treasurers can enter that information.
Because I thought we did this process last year.
We
The
did.
difference is treasurers have access to it, right?
Yes,
This year.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Now, for those of you who may have got caught up, and it can be confusing, so I'm just going to mention it. We do have a PDF fillable TFR that lives in that forms bank. That is not the preferred way, though, for you to fill it out. That's more of like somebody who is maybe changing troops mid-year, or there's some reason that they can't do it online. That's really kind of like the backup reserve way to do it. So we really want everybody going into the VTK and entering the information that way.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, Lauren, do we have more out of the chat?
Yeah, so I guess another one would be, do you have a preferred method, PayPal, CheddarUp, or Venmo?
I think it depends on how, like what your intended audience is and how you're going to use, why you're using it and why you're sending it up. So my preferred is CheddarUp, and I have a daughter in Girl Scouts. I'm not a troop leader. And so I like CheddarUp because it seems easy for me to be able to like send that $2 when it's due, or, you know, pay for something easy and quick. That's just why I like CheddarUp. I mean, I've used PayPal for Girl Scouts before, or not PayPal, sorry. I've never used PayPal for Girl Scouts. I've used Square for Girl Scouts before, and that seems pretty good, but you can't collect money from parents with Square very easily. It's just, the answer is CheddarUp. Okay, what's next?
I guess, do you use your March statement received in April or your April statement received in May?
So your April statement that you receive in the beginning of May, you'll balance to the April 30th date, and then you have a whole month of May to get it all reconciled and get it entered in. And that's why it's due at the end of May.
And do we want to take Ruth's question? I know her hand's up.
Yep.
And then we'll
let's
go
for it.
back into chat.
Hi. My troop had an event scheduled or planned that was canceled twice because of COVID. And I had a whole bunch of supplies that now our service unit is buying from us, basically, so they could use for other troops or other events. So is that miscellaneous income?
It could definitely go under miscellaneous income. It also could go towards the, yeah, because you spent it out of, and it's when you spent it and you bought the purchases, was that probably last year's TFR then?
So,
Depends when you bought it.
yes, and it was under, event
Right.
supplies, or what, I forget
Yeah.
what the category is.
Yeah, so you would put the income part under miscellaneous income, and you would just make a little note in there that says, because all those categories have an option for you to type in a note, and you would just want to make a note that says exactly what you said.
Okay,
Supplies purchased for an event that was canceled, service unit purchased from me.
okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. So we have 1 minute left. I am not rushing to get off, but and we will stay here as long as there are questions rolling in. But the formal part of the presentation is of course over. And so I just want to call out and say that we are at time, but you're welcome to stay and listen to the rest of the conversations. So thank you for being on with us. Hopefully we covered a lot of ground, and hopefully we answered some good questions for you guys. And again, just reach out to your staff partner as questions come up. Money and finances is kind of one of our big parts of what we do when we're in the volunteer development role or the membership manager role. Okay, so let's finish up questions. Deanna, do you want to take a couple questions?
Sure.
Okay.
So there's one question in here about a troop that just started and they don't have their bank account set up yet. And they're asking if they still need to fill out a TFR for this year. Yes. Even if you don't have a bank account, you still need to fill out the TFR. What you'll do is you will put in that information on the statement. So for bank account number, it'll be 0000, whatever. And you'll put a note in there as well. And then you'll just make note of all your income and expenses. If you don't have any, that'll be easy. That'll be 0. I would also, you also need to put in the notes that you have not opened up your bank account as of yet. Just so if that troop is audited, that is documented. And then once you have it all up and going next year, it'll make sense to do when you do the TFR.
And
right,
Deanna, I just want to add really quick to that too. The TFR is not just a regurgitation of what's in your bank account. It is meant to be the troop finance report. So you need to think of like the petty cash, the dues can, anything that is finance related is reported. And people get caught up thinking that they're just categorizing again what's in their bank statements. Like, why can't I just send you my bank statement? It's like, well, because it's way more than that. So just a little bit on that.
What type of notes do we need to add in the TFR? Example, in the financial summary section. Well, one of the things is if it doesn't balance out in the summary section in the notes, you need to put in there why. Why isn't the TFR reconciling? And that could be as a result of the cookie season going a little bit longer this year, and that hasn't been, you haven't collected or deposited all those cookie monies yet. And you can never put too much in the notes, by the way. They like information.
So Deanna, I can read for you. I feel like it's easier to answer if somebody reads me the question. So this next question here says, when you do reimbursements for parents, can you use Zeal feature on Wells Fargo versus paying in cash, especially with the current situation?
I don't know the answer to that question.
So I'm unfamiliar myself with Zeal, the Zeal feature on the Wells Fargo paying app. The overall answer to all these different like Venmo, Cash apps, maybe Zeal, I just don't know that one, is you can use them. It is at your own discretion to use these, but you need to make sure that you've read and understand the like the terms and conditions, because not all of these online payments will allow you to attach a nonprofit, business checking account. So if you go to open one of these things and it's asking for a personal bank account number and it won't let you attach a nonprofit bank account, you can't use it because you cannot commingle personal funds with Girl Scout stuff. So I would say at first glance, if Zelle is connected through Wells Fargo and Wells Fargo is connected, that is connected to your Troop bank account, it sounds like it's probably a big thumbs up. But what we're going to do is just make a note that that was a question we couldn't quite answer, and we'll make sure that we get that information in the wrap-up email that you guys get, okay? Because we want to make sure to answer that specifically.
Can I make a comment about Zelle? It says that it is a business account, so you cannot use Zelle for the Girl Scout account.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay, that answers that. Okay, so Miss Deanna, next question for you. It says, on the TFR, where do we list miscellaneous expenses, plans for money over 500, donation details in notes or attachments? So it's in the notes at the bottom.
It's
Right,
in the
and
notes at the bottom. And there is one where you can add in, I was trying to pull up the TFR so I could tell you exactly where it was. But if you, it does say there, put it in there, what you have plans for the $500. Donations, there is a section for donations. Let me see if I can log in and share my screen really quick. Oops.
Deanna,
It logged me out.
While you're doing that, I was just going to scan through and see if we had anyone else with their hand raised. I don't see any more hand raises. Okay. So I'm going to take the next question while you're trying to get that up. So this next question says, in Cheddar Up, we have several parents who are not willing to put in their bank account for their direct ACH. Is this still the case as of today? Also, the difference between ACH and credit card payments was not distinct and clear enough. Our parents paid exorbitant fees for making a credit card payment. Okay, so the answer to this one's going to sound a little rough. The parents are pulling it over your eyes because when they set up a Cheddar Up account, they have an option. It's a screen when they're setting up their own personal account. And it tells them, if you put your debit card number in, your fee is going to be this much. If you put your checking account number in, your fee is going to be this much. And it's way cheaper if they do the credit or the check one. So if a parent set up their account incorrectly and got charged more than they're comfortable with, I'm really, really sorry, but that's on their shoulders. That's not on your shoulders as a troop leader.
Chris, may I provide clarification on that?
Yep.
So, I mean, I know we communicated that, like, you put in your, well, the thing is with you linking your account, you have to provide the routing number of the bank. Some were just not willing to do that. And so even though we said, okay, well, this is the best way. And if you do credit card payments or debit card payments, obviously you will be charged a fees. But even on the interface itself, it was interesting because the first line was, like the debit card or credit card line. And then there's the kind of the direct ACH, but it's grayed out. And so they were just like, oh, I'm just going to put in my credit card info because that's not clear that you had other options outside of the credit card payment. So, after the fact, they were like, well, I made my credit card payment. I had to pay $17 to get this cookie payment to you. And I'm like, oh my God, And so, I mean, they ate the fees, but it was just like, even on the interface itself, it's not clear. And so I just wonder from the interface perspective of the people developing that payment page, if they can make the Cheddar Up, if they can make those distinctions, just because then again, we obviously want to promote, like, again, I love the ease of being able to get their money straight to the bank account, but it was just those fees, even though, again, communicated enough, some of the people still were tripped up on that because it wasn't clear on the payment page.
Not clear enough for them.
Yeah, for the end user. And so that would just be my only comment around that.
I'm curious, when they make the payment, does it also tell them before they hit the go payment? Does it also tell them that there's going to be this much fee based on this much payment?
Probably, and then they just probably thought that because again, the rest of like I said, the direct ACH, right? Like the direct link to your account was grayed out on the bottom, because I went and looked, and I'm like, well, what are they seeing?
Right.
And so again, the first option is the credit card payment or the debit card. And then it was like the bottom options were grayed out. So it didn't look like it was active.
I wonder
And
why
so
they're
again,
grayed out.
yeah. But then when I click like, okay, and then I click the bottom and then everything else grayed out. And then again, then I can put my bank, my routing number. And then once that's set up, you're right. The fee was, nominal, right? It's only
Right,
like,
it is.
very small. But then we still had other parents that were just saying like, we don't want to provide our routing number. And I was like,
Right.
okay, I mean, it is what it is. And so
Right.
they provided the payments in other ways. But I did love the fact that, yeah, you get the, you have this system, like I said, you can send invoice to parents and then they can do that. But yeah, not everyone was on board, but we found ways around it. But I guess just my last, if there's a way we can just notify Cheddar Up, it's like,
Sure.
make those things clearer.
Yeah.
So then they just, that the parents are just know what they're choosing, and then not thinking that, well, that was the only choice I had because it seemed like everything else was not
Sure.
available. Yeah. So
So,
no,
Barbara,
that was it. Yeah.
to make sure that we really capture what your experience and what you saw, would you mind just putting that in an email?
Oh, not at all. Yeah, I can just share that. Yeah.
Who's your staff partner?
Well,
Your
we have.
VDM.
Oh, what do you mean? Say that one more time.
Your VDM, your staff partner.
Oh, we have a start. Are you talking about from like the service unit level?
No, like your council staff person who comes to your service unit meetings.
Oh, we have Star Baruto and Paula Lancelotti. We're on 387 Crystal Springs unit.
387. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to try to find out who your staff partner is really quick. I'm going to have you email that fee. Oh, you know what? Here, I'm just going to put, how about this? I'll put my email address in the chat. You send it to me. I'll pass that information on, because I think that's really good feedback.
Thank you.
We don't want to catch people off guard, but like you said, there are those informational, things that go out, but we just, okay.
I mean, it helps the parents at the, when they're dealing with this. Again, we used it last year for our cookie season. We didn't use it obviously this year just because we had the digital cookie app. But it's just still good to, just like an FYI or, it was, we had like, two parents who did that. And then, but again, like you said, even with the communication, it's like, it still was missed. And so we just have to keep on trying. And if we can attack it at that end, hopefully it's clearer. Thank you. Great. I appreciate that.
I put my email in here, but I made a typo on the first one. So it's the longer one, the second one there.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Okay. So I think we're probably just about done. Oh, there are some more questions in here. Okay.
So I pulled up a screen share for where do you list the miscellaneous expenses, plans for money, etc., donation details in notes or attachments. We would prefer you do not send additional attachments. There are places for you to put the notes. So, for example, for miscellaneous expenses, you can put that number in here and then add the note of what that dollar amount is and what it's for, or what it's for. And then down towards the end of the TFR, here's the troop responses for outstanding deposits, outstanding purchases, a financial summary, if your account does not balance, and then where your plans for over $500 goes here. What do the girls plan on doing? So it's all on here. That's what we would prefer, as opposed to adding on extra attachments. But you do need to attach the bank statement.
Yes, absolutely. Bank statement.
In Cheddar Up, we had, this one already been done?
I think we're on Nazia's question. If you don't have receipts for this year's expenses, what happens? So the only time you're really going to need a receipt is if you're audited, and that's random. We don't know who's going to be audited. It's something that the finance department does. I would imagine that if you don't have your receipts, you're a troop that's audited, there's some big discrepancy we pull out, like you bought a purse, like I did. There's going to be some not consequences, there's going to be some conversation about like, well, you know, can you pull up a bank statement? Can you help explain why you use this, where, or what it was? If you have the availability to go back to the stores, a lot of stores use electronic POS systems. And if you can give them the date, you can work with the store manager, and a lot of times the stores can print you a duplicate receipt. But it's not like, you know, we're not going to cancel your account. We're not going to tell you can't be a leader, whatever. I mean, if we find misuse of funds and there's no receipts to back it up, and we think something's fishy, and we think somebody's using money that they shouldn't use, then there will be repercussions about that. But, you know, in general, it really won't be like life or death. Okay, next question here. A business wants to donate an e-bike to our troop to raffle. Okay, I'm going to stop you right there because Girl Scouts cannot engage in games of chance. So no raffles in Girl Scouts. It's an IRS thing tied to our type of our nonprofit account. So no raffles, which also means no bunco, which is really a bummer because bunco is considered a game of chance, and a lot of people like bunco as a fundraising event. So no raffles. I'm sorry. Okay, Deanna, you want to answer this one? Is Cheddar Up similar to Venmo, Zelle, and PayPal, and is Cheddar Up free?
I'm not really familiar with using Cheddar Up.
Well, it is, so I can answer this one. It is free to the troop. The cost is incurred at the end user, just like Barbara was sharing her parent who must have paid a lot of cookie money into the troop using Cheddar Up. The parent incurs the fee. So if you are going to use Cheddar Up to collect for an event that your troop is running and you charge Troop 123, Troop 123 is going to get charged the fee for using the Cheddar Up service. So it is free to the troop. Member services phone number, yeah. Okay, that one's
when purchasing daisy petals and badges, do I add them under awards and recognition or under troop group supplies?
So that's awards and recognitions.
Awards and recognitions.
Yep. Troops and group supplies is like the glue sticks and the scissors and the fluffy sparkly balls for your craft project. That's supplies. So, will we include steps to add a treasurer role for a parent in your troop in the follow-up email? Oh, we will include steps. That's from Preeti. Okay, we will include steps to add the treasurer role in the follow-up email. Okay, that was a statement, not a question. Okay, we're getting down here. Okay, so Jade asked, how are girl credits from nut and cookie sales supposed to be organized and used? I'm very confused. So Jade, that is probably a bigger question than we can answer on this forum. So Jade, I think I'm gonna tackle that one with you at the end, if you're okay to stay on. Let me see what else is down here. Oh, actually, maybe that's it. Will we get access to the recording? Yes, we'll send the recording. Okay, well, Jade, then I guess your question is last. So let's tackle this one. So the credits are not, they're not girl credits. So the troop proceeds that come in at the end of a sale is all one bank of money. And it is put in your troop bank account. Well, it's already in your bank account the way it is, but it stays in your bank account as a whole troop account money. Girls will come and leave from your troop. The highest seller who brought in the most may leave. She doesn't get to take it with her. It's not girl money. As soon as the only reward that a girl gets is the stuff that they get, like their stuffed animal, their experiential reward, their shoelaces, their bandana. That's the girl portion of what a girl gets out of a sale. The money portion belongs to the entire troop and should be spent on the entire troop in an equal amount. So because we're a nonprofit and the IRS guidelines guide how we can use our money, we are not allowed to do individual girl accounting. So it makes it easier on you as a treasurer. It's just one lump sum. You know, you're not saying, oh, Savannah has $20 to spend and Kristen has 70, and oh my gosh, Nevaeh, she sold the heck out of cookies, and so she's got, you know, $500 of credit in her account. That's not at all how it works in Girl Scout world. Jade, I welcome you to unmute if you have a more specific question.
Oh, no, you answered it for me.
Okay.
Because I took over a troop from somebody who actually kept a list of who had what, and she was saying that they had 2 years to use it, and I was like, okay,
No,
I don't
no,
understand
no.
what any of this is, and how does COVID affect that 2 years? But apparently that's not supposed to be to begin with.
Not at all. So Jade, if you've just now taken over a troop, I might suggest that you pop into our volunteer learning portal. And there is a specific module that surrounds money and finances, and you could take that. It should help you out a lot with like the money stuff. We also have a document in what's called the volunteer essentials, so that we term it the VE, volunteer essentials. It's kind of like the Girl Scout book of rules, the Girl Scout Bible. It's kind of how I explain it to people. So the VE is where all the hard, fast rules live. And there's a money section in there too. And so we've referenced it a few times here today. It'll be in the follow-up email. But the training coupled with the document out of the VE should really line out for you all those things you need to know about money. And then your staff partner, that's why we're here for you guys. That's our job. You guys are our job to make sure that you've got all that training, and we're here to answer questions. And so yeah, you use us.
So can I ask a follow-up question on that in a way? So if a girl wants to use the rewards towards a trip, one of the council trips or a camp or something, the only thing they can use is the reward that comes with it, that would have been in exchange for their stuffed animal, whatever the actual reward, but they cannot use their cookie proceeds for that their trip or whatever that is, an individual trip.
Yes.
Trip. Okay.
So the answer there is twofold. Okay, there's two different, the answer is yes, but then there's a caveat. So troop money is troop money. It's spent on a troop experience. If girls want to earn their way to camp, then yes, we would suggest that they take those cookie dough, Girl Scout credit cards, or whatever you guys call them in your troop, the cookie reward cards, convert that into the maximum amount of cash out for the girl so that she can use, it's basically her Girl Scout credit card to use, or cash card, whatever, and she can use that to pay for camp. Now, the way that I say there's a caveat is because there are troops out there who specifically do the cookie sale so that all their girls can get to camp. And if that's the case, when it's every single girl and the required adults that you need, or however you work the adult part, then yes, the troop funds will pay for camp, if that's the set outlined goal. In my daughter's troop, we did a big international trip, $40,000 in the bank account. We had a girl leave a year into earning that money. She doesn't get to take it with her. But the next girls who came in late, they got to benefit from that, right? Because we had X amount of money in the troop account, and the whole troop was going on a trip together. The other place where it's very different is the individual travel. So we did show a slide here today for what we have, the Sandy Norman EF tours. If a girl is going to do separate travel apart from her troop, it is an individual girl experience, and her accounting for money is different. She will work with Sandy Norman to probably open up somehow a different type of Girl Scout account. And I don't know how Sandy does all of her finances, but I do know that those girls will fundraise money earned separate from the troop to fund their account for their specific travel. And that's not a troop experience at all. It's like having an individual Girl Scout. So it's, but travel's a little different. Yeah, go for it, Diana.
So a girl cannot go on an individual trip with her family and no other Girl Scouts involved.
Oh,
and,
right.
A Girl Scout trip involves either going with other girls, but not by themselves, with no Girl Scouts. Is that clear?
Right. Like you can't say, oh, my daughter fundraised to go to Disneyland, so my family is going to go and I'm going to take my daughter and we want, $200 out of the bank account to take my kid to Disneyland, but it's not a troop trip. Like the leader has to be there if it's a troop event, right? That kind of thing. And what Deanna's saying, we have had happen. So you can't take money out to go on a personal vacation. So, okay. I think we've covered all of the questions, guys. I don't know if you have anything else. Oh, are we able to access the 2021 TFR now? I've not tried this week. Is it live, Deanna? So they could start to put information in?
It looks like it, because I can put it on mine.
Okay, perfect. So you can go in and start getting your stuff all together. You won't be able to submit though until you're after the April 30th, because you got to wait to reconcile to the April 30th bank account. It's really important that the ending balance on that bank account statement is the ending balance in your finance report. So if anybody tried to submit one before April 30th, as your staff partner, we're just going to kick it back because there's no way you could have balanced yet.
It does an auto save.
Yep.
Yes, it auto saves, and just don't hit submit.
Right. Yeah,
And
the
you're
really
good.
cool thing about the autosave is, let's say you as a leader and the treasurer are both logging in together to work on things. It'll autosave between the sessions, and then in the top right corner, it's going to show you the last person that logged in. So, if you're like, okay, I need you to go in and enter such and such, and then you get back on, you'll see, oh, Deanna edited this at 8 o'clock this morning, or so on. So I think that's a pretty cool feature. Okay. I'm not seeing any more questions, so I think it's okay to say goodbye for the day. Thank you so much. If you happen to want to talk all about finances, we're doing this again tomorrow morning. But some of our other staff partners are actually presenting, so it won't be Deanna and I tomorrow. But if you still have a question and we didn't answer it, email us or pop in tomorrow or get a hold of your staff partner. Okay, I guess we're good for the day. Thank you so very much, everybody. We appreciate everybody's time. I'm going to stop the recording.